We'll get you one.
It's okay. No, she's done so much.
I don't think it should be too long.
Settled in.
Once again, you take your thing. You got it? You can fire me. You can have me.
Hello, everyone.
That's yours.
Settling in now. We will now
Trying
begin
to become mayor.
today's City of Joliet City Council meeting for today, Tuesday, June 20th at 6:30 p.m. here in the City Hall Council Chambers. We will be led today in the invocation by Pastor Jonas Jones of New Covenant Worship Center, 2423 Glenwood Avenue.
Good evening, everyone. Heavenly Father, we come before you, God, to give you thanks today, God. We thank you, Lord, for the city council today. We thank you for the city of Joliet, God. And Lord, we ask that you will begin to come into this place tonight, God, to give us wisdom, give us understanding, God. Let us come together in oneness and in unity, God. Allow harmony, Lord, to rest upon our hearts tonight, Father, as we discuss matters and issues concerning the people. Lord, we ask that you will guide us, you will keep us, and you will watch over us. And God, we ask you to bless this city of Joliet. Bless every entity, every department, that we will continue to give your name all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a proclamation recognizing Sister Mary Frances Seeley.
Right here is Sister Mary Frances Seeley. So I'm going to read the proclamation to her from the Mayor, Harry Darcy, City of Joliet. Can you hear me okay? No.
Pull it in, Jan.
How about now? Okay. Proclamation. Whereas Sister Mary Frances Seeley has dedicated her life to the Catholic Church and those in need of the city of Joliet and worldwide through service, education, and support. Sister Mary Frances Seeley, holding a doctorate in Law Society and Policy from Northeastern University, Boston, has been a leader in crisis hotline development for 50 years, founding the Crisis Line of Will County, Crisis Line of Grundy County, 2 teen hotlines, and the Upper Room Crisis Hotline in Joliet. Whereas Sister Mary Frances Seeley has designed and instructed hotline training programs nationwide and authored a comprehensive hotline history and development book. Sister Mary Frances Seeley has served as and first president of the Illinois Association of Suicidology. Tough one to say. Acting as an expert in suicide and suicide prevention in the city of Joliet and communities worldwide. Sister Mary Frances Seeley has served as an educator, guidance counselor, and principal to youth in Illinois and nationwide. Whereas Sister Mary Frances Seeley was an integral member of the development team of the Joliet Community Mental Health Program, which provides cost-free mental health care to all residents of the city of Joliet. Sister Mary Frances Seeley has served as a suicidologist and supporter of the Joliet Firefighters Peer Support Group since its founding and has educated Joliet police personnel on suicide prevention. Whereas Sister Mary Frances Seeley has served as a suicidologist and supporter of the Joliet Firefighters Support Group. She celebrates her Diamond Jubilee of 75 years as a Catholic sister this month. Now, therefore, to recognize Sister Mary Frances Seeley, PhD, I, Terry Darcy, Mayor of City of Joliet, Illinois, I'm getting all tongue-tied here, I'm sorry, I'm getting nervous for you. On behalf of the City of the Joliet Council, ask the Joliet community to join in recognition and appreciation for her commitment to the health and welfare of all people, especially the citizens of Joliet. Signed, Mayor Terry Darcy, June 20th, 2023. Well deserved, sister. I see you got the black and white memo. This is for you.
Thank you. No, I'm in black and white tonight. We're having a farewell party for our sisters from Brazil. They've been here celebrating with us our jubilees. And as for us being in the convent for 75 years, I'll tell you a secret. My mother gave me away at birth, so I've had time. But being a native Joliet, and of course my loyalties are here. Yes, I've traveled the world, and I always come back to Joliet. And I do have to say, I have never met a city that is effective in helping its citizens as I have found in Joliet. I know there are vacancies, I know there are problems. They're going to say, well, you look through rose-colored glasses. But no, I taught for about 5 summers in Odessa, Ukraine. I was in Kyiv and Lviv and Odessa primarily. But they have nothing there. And when I studied the hotlines, they had no referrals to give to people. In Joliet, when you had the crisis line, there wasn't one service that people could not get. Couldn't always get it immediately. You had to go through protocols, et cetera. But Joliet has been a fantastic city in every way. And now I've been around so long, the cream of the crop or the cream of the work I'm doing is with the fire department. They are a group of wonderful men. And I'd say that even if they weren't standing behind me. No, it's been my privilege to serve with them. And I'm hoping to continue for many more years. I told the Lord I'd like to live to 105, and of course, you tell the Lord your plans and he laughs at you. So we will see. He laughs hysterically sometimes, but no, sincerely, I love Joliet. I love the way everybody helps everybody else. And I know there are bad corners, dark areas, etc., but those two are being served in different ways. So I just want to congratulate, thank you, Mayor Darcy, and it's always good to see you, and thank you for the City Council and for all the people of Joliet. I'd say God bless. Thank you very much.
Fire department? Pretend like you're going to a fire because we got a long meeting tonight. Get a picture of it.
It's good to see you. God bless you.
We always do. I don't want to inadvertently be in the picture.
If I could, I'd like to just take a moment to read a letter that I got today at the mayor's office. Sister, this letter came in today by email to me, and I want to read it. I think it's important that people know just how you do touch the world. This is from a David Waddy. I'm the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus Council, 11-5-31, in Cornwall, Ontario, Canada. I just learned of the proclamation that Mayor Darcy is planning to award Sister Mary Frances on Tuesday evening. One of our members at this council volunteers for one of the organizations that Sister Mary Frances founded, and I am aware of the good works, compassion, and positive impacts that have come through and from the amazing work of this talented lady. Not only has she helped people throughout her life, but she has also led countless others to help change the world. Joliet was only the beginning. Sister Mary Frances leads volunteers in Joliet across the United States and internationally. More than that, she has caused positive impacts in lives around the globe on a daily basis. It is my hope that you could please pass along this message of congratulations from the Knights of Columbus, Council 11-531. Thank you again.
Next is a proclamation, Nurses Ascension St. Joseph, Joliet.
I wear many hats around here. I was also involved with the mental health program, and of course, I'm a nurse. They gave me the privilege of saying this again, so from now on, proclamations will be other ways. Come on over here behind us so you can see you on TV. Come behind. Come on, girls. Come on, I never knew nurses to be shy. Let's go. Move it. Stand. That's right, stand, that's right. Okay, proclamation, whereas St. Joseph Nurses Association is observing 30 years of quality nursing care to the Joliet community. St. Joseph Nurses Association is comprised of research-based standards of specialties and nursing practice, which are critical to optimal patient care and organizational outcomes that promote the health of the population of Joliet. St. Joseph Nurses Association recognizes the needs and responsibilities of onboarding new nurses and the importance of orientation based on education, role development, and competency. Whereas the City of Joliet observes and acknowledges the exceptional work and care provided by the nursing team at St. Joseph Medical Center and their daily impact on patients' lives. The City of Joliet supports the nurses of Joliet and their dedication to uphold the professional role, competence, and growth in nursing. Now, therefore, I, Terry Darcy, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby urge all citizens to join me in honoring and extending our appreciation to the nurses of St. Joseph Medical Center, Joliet, Illinois, for their dedication to the community for the past 30 years. And it is signed Terry Darcy, Mayor, June 2023. But please hold your applause for just a moment. These ladies are in dire need of our support. I know we can't really get involved in it, but the community can. They work hard, they're overworked, they have a patient load, which is critical. It's hard to take two patients in intensive care and be able to talk to the patient, care for the patient, be the counselor for the doctor and the parents. We're everything. You're 24/7 to every single patient and family. This is our only hospital in Joliet, guys. So please, citizens of Joliet, come to their rescue. If they have to strike again, please be supportive this time because we need to help these guys. They're hard workers, and I know because I talk from experience, only I'm fortunate that I don't have to work in a hospital setting anymore. So this proclamation is dated June 2023, and it's signed by Terry Darcy, Mayor of the City of Joliet, and you've got my support.
I'd like to say thank you. I feel like I'm always up here crying. I'm gonna keep on crying, okay, until I lose my voice. I just want to say thank you to the mayor, to the city board, city council. We are really touched by this acknowledgement. As Councilman Coleman said, we are in dire straits right now. It truly does not look good. You are our city, you are our families, you are our patients. You are why we are there. We are going to need you and the support of the citizens of Joliet in order to keep our doors open and keep our competent nurses that we have and are proud of in place when you walk through those doors. Through it all, we've not walked away. Many of us have. Do you realize that we've lost 300 nurses? 300. And they're being replaced with agency nurses. But they don't have the standards, the qualifications, and the certifications that this community expects. I have two nurses here that have just had incidents that want to say something that will be more profound than what I can say, because you hear me all the time. So we got some new voices to speak to you with experiences that just exemplifies what we were trying to share.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Mayor Darcy and council men and women. Really appreciate. I usually don't have a problem being loud. So anyway, I want to say thank you so much for this. It is appreciated, and your support is so appreciated. This is my community. I love my community. Nurses are the most trusted profession that we know. We have been for hundreds of years. If you guys could just trust us now, and when we say we love our community and we want to be here for our community and not have to go on strike, but if we do have to go on strike, we want support. But we want to be there to support our community. We want to have the resources. We want to keep St. Joe's in Joliet where it belongs. I've lived here my whole life, and I love it. I love working at Joe's. I love the nurses there. Everybody's amazing. And what's happening right now is scary for my community. I don't want to see our only hospital in Joliet leave. It's terrifying for our community, because where else are people going to go when there's an emergency? It's the closest hospital to most of our people in Joliet. It doesn't matter where they're from, they come to us because we're the closest. And we can provide the care that they need as long as we're given the resources to do so. So anyway, thank you so much for having us tonight. Thank you.
Come on, Jackie.
I was just gonna mention, I recently had surgery there myself, just as a patient, a couple of times, very recent, and it was so nice to have wonderful care, and the people I knew and work with every day took good care of me. But you know, we don't always have that anymore, because so many of them are not our employees, they're just temporary people. But having the people who know all of us in the community is very important in our care.
Just one second, Catherine, and I know I didn't even ask her, but you know how I'm the voluntold. This is Catherine. You probably recognize her. She was one of the nurses that was walked out of the ER because she stood up for the ICU. Excuse me. Yeah, same difference, same situation. I just wanted to say a few words. She's one of our new nurses, and the fact that she was that staunchness to stand up and defend what she felt was right and just, and that is that our patients deserve safe patient care.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. What happened back in October is ICU nurses normally have 2 patient for 1 nurses. We walked in and it was 4 patients to 1 nurse. Research has shown that there's an increase in mortality for a patient every time a nurse has 1 patient over their normal grid. And so we had double the number of patients, and especially as new nurses, we felt it wasn't right to the patient or the community. I think the saddest thing that I see as a new nurse is that nurses that are being educated and live in Joliet are choosing not to work at St. Joe's because of the poor orientation, poor education, and poor pay. And so we need to invest in our community and in those young adults that live here and are educated here, so they don't go to other hospitals when they can bring that education and their skill set to their own community. So we really appreciate this, and we do really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you again so much. We appreciate it. Expect a call. Again, thank you. This is so wonderful. It will mean so much to our nurses to know that you support them and that you've heard them. To hear them means everything. So thank you so much, and you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following change? Remove Council Memo 309-23, which is the authorization to remit the remaining 2023 operating subsidy for the Joliet Area Historical Museum. Remove it from consent agenda to be voted on separately. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of 309-23 from consent agenda to vote on separately?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. Reappointments to Joliet Police Pension Board. Tonight, the mayor is recommending George Stofan and Richard Rash be reappointed to the Joliet Police Pension Board. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Mayor Pro Tem, it's recommended Councilman Hug serve as Mayor Pro Tem July 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is council committee reports. Diversity and Community Relations Committee.
The Diversity and Community Relations Committee met here in the council chambers on June 14th at 4 p.m. We had a very short agenda. We're looking just at our community development block grant allocations for program year 2023. So in total, the city of Joliet will receive $899,018 from HUD to be allocated to projects within the guidelines of CDBG funding. The annual action plan is posted on the City of Joliet website under the Community Development Department of Neighborhood Services Division. So the draft plan is also posted at the City of Joliet's public libraries on Black Road and North Ottawa Street. Per HUD guidelines, City of Joliet staff has scheduled a public hearing on June 26, 2023 at 1 p.m. in the council chambers to receive any public comments. We're urging council members to respond to our community development staff to schedule a time to review the staff recommendations prior to a full council meeting on July 18th. We're also hoping that the public will come and participate in the public hearing. And on July 18th, staff will request a vote from City Council on recommendations so that the City of Joliet can meet the August 15th deadline and submit documentation to HUD. We have a breakdown of the funding allocations per project that was also included in the presentation that would be available for anybody who would like to see it. And that would be my report.
Thank you.
I have a question. What time did you say that was on June 26th in city chambers?
That would be at 1 p.m.
1 p.m.? Thank you.
Finance Committee report.
Finance Committee met here at 5:30 in the chambers. On the committee is Councilwoman Jan Quillman and Councilman Larry Hug and myself. We had a presentation from Finance Director Kevin Singh, who mentioned that the revenues are lagging a bit at this time, but that's also a positive end that expenses are slightly better than projected. So the numbers are still meeting the budget in that respect. There, we had the report on the parking fund is increased slightly from before. We had a report from the museum who is up almost 1,100 patrons in the prison side. In the museum side, and the prison side is up just under 1,000 patrons from before. We also have another item, which we have an electric contract, or electricity contract until April, but we're looking to potentially go out early for bids on that, which will come to the city council. We also have two items that are coming to the city council tonight, which one is the museum, and the other one is a operating subsidy, our professional service, I should say, agreement with Burns and McDonald on that end. A bigger part of the meeting then was spent reviewing the time frame of the budget going forward. Everything's gonna be considerably earlier than in the past. The finance director will also give us some more updates on where funding appears to be coming in at, and we're gonna look to have a 5-year plan on that to move ahead. Jan or Larry, want to add anything?
No.
No, that was it.
That's my report.
Thank you.
Land Use and Legislative Committee report.
Okay, I left all my minutes at home, so I'm gonna try to wing this. Hopefully my wing people will help me. Land Use met here in council chambers on June 8th at 4:00 p.m. And in attendance was myself. Help me out here, guys. Sherry Reardon, I'm total blank. Sherry Reardon and Cesar Guerrero. Thank you. Oh my God, I had explicit notes today too. I spent half hour on them. So first thing on the agenda was the North Point truck barrier discussion, and what they're trying to do is build an overpass that's flexible to keep the trucks on their part of the road, to keep them off of the right traffic and to keep them in the closed loop section. So it was a discussion that was done at Public Service, and then it came to us, and with approval from the police department that they had gotten earlier in the fire department, it was just for discussion and our agreement on that. Another ordinance was rules of procedure for speakers. We come to talk, they wanted to cut it back to 3 minutes instead of the 4 minutes. And we just disagreed, we unanimously voted against that, denied that. So if anyone wants to speak, it's 4 minutes. And it'll be coming to the council meeting as tonight for a vote. The second one was same thing for council members' comments on any single thing, down to 5 minutes and on any particular item. And we decided that sometimes you just have to go over than 5 minutes, because their discussions get really, sometimes heated, but not sometimes heated. Sometimes, you come to an agreement. So we voted that down unanimously as well. So you can talk for 5 minutes, but you have to be cordial. The next thing was repealing chapter weights and measures ordinances of the city code. And we were going through old items that needed to be deleted. So we got rid of that weights and measures. That's not necessary anymore. That's an old ordinance. The next one, we repealed the smoking regulations, which has been recoded. Everybody doesn't smoke in public areas. They know where to go. And that's just become, people don't smoke inside anymore, basically. And where you can smoke will be outside. Let's see. Then there was the residential transfer information disclosure from an ordinance in the city of Joliet that we're working on right now, because the realtors were here and there was some misunderstanding about liens and things and taxes on the houses. And what happened in one particular instance, a lady went to close on her home, and at the 11th hour, the seller says, oh, by the way, here's a list of violations that I have. So he was a single-family rental house landlord, and he didn't disclose all the violations that was done by the inspector and things that she didn't know. To make a long story short, she couldn't get out of the deal because she'd already sold her, or got out of her apartment lease with her landlord. So she was really kind of forced to buy the house with all these violations. And so anyway, what we were trying to do, and we're going to work with the realtors, because rather than work against each other in this one, I said, why don't we just work together to find out a way where we can protect homeowners, even though the law is there, but in the 11th hour like that, to have a homeowner find out, that they're going to have to do all these fixes to move in the house. And it's no longer, a single family rental, but it's her home, and didn't know that other things were bad. He kind of didn't disclose them. He cheated, in other words. It's the basic word, he cheated. So we're gonna work on something, because, she can't afford an attorney. People can, you can do this, but she was a single mom with 2 children, and she was stuck at the 11th hour. So we're gonna work with the realtors and our attorney, Mr. Chris Regis, to try to put something in place to protect people at another measure. but that's a work in progress right now. But that was discussed at length as well. And the last thing I believe was a new conduct, ordinance, what'd you call it? Yeah, 55959, and it's about how people should conduct themselves at meetings, not only citizens, but also anybody that represents the city of Joliet, including the council and the mayor, when you're out and about, you know, instead of fighting all the time and yelling and screaming, have some type of decorum. So there's a whole thing newly posted on our website, and we all voted for that as well. No new business except for that ordinance.
You
Yes.
missed the one,
What did I miss?
the parking on public property.
Oh, yes, thank you. That was a new one. We've been having issues with semi-trucks parking in private properties, particularly an area was on Tony's grocery store over there at Larkin and Jefferson. And these 18-wheelers been parking there, and they park other places too. So police couldn't write any tickets because we had no ordinance in place. So in order to do that, they have to come and get a special use permit to have 18-wheelers park on private property. So we put that ordinance in place that you cannot park anywhere on private property with these 18-wheelers or trucks of any sort on private property. So if you see something like that, the police department is supported and can write a ticket. Now, Cesar, did I get it all?
I believe so.
Oh God, I tried to remember everything I wrote down.
You did good.
It was more organized at home, all right. And that concludes the land use report. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Public Safety Committee report.
Okay, that's me, again. Okay, public safety met this afternoon in council chambers. We had a very short agenda, and Officer Grizel was here to explain the resolution adopting the execution of a grant agreement with the Illinois Secretary of State for the Tri-County Theft Task Force. Now, he was here, he gave us a presentation, because a lot of people go, you know, what does that task force do? So he gave a very informative slide presentation, which he's gonna bring back here the second.
He's still here,
Oh, you're here?
back corner.
I thought you weren't staying. I decided to stay. Oh, then come on up here and explain it. Come on, explain it, Ricky. You can explain it much better than I can. Is the slide ready too?
No,
You could have told me.
you wanted me to come back, I would have been more than happy to come back.
You said you didn't want to come back. This has been a day. Thanks, Rick.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, City Manager. So I'm Ed Grizzle. I am the Director of Tri-County Auto Theft, but I'm a sergeant here in the Joliet Police Department. So a couple things we'll talk about really quick, explain kind of what we do. Because we don't get involved in the paper. You don't see our names out there a lot because we are a covert unit. So a couple things to look at what our primary goals are through the grant is not only criminal investigations, but education. And we'll talk about the areas of the city that we go to, into community meetings. We go into universities and we talk about not only theft prevention, but also, you know, how to protect yourself of buying cars as well from some of the used dealerships. So a couple things we start talking about the things that we find inside vehicles. Obviously, most of the stolen motor vehicle thefts are no longer joyriding anymore. That doesn't exist for the most part. This is crimes that occurred that they do other crimes, they steal the cars. So it goes from Cook County to Will County to Kankakee, same offenders back and forth. But if you look at my lower right, which would be, you see a bunch of key fobs on there, that is actually what's called a reprogrammer. So what these criminals like to do, they will take a key fob, buy it off Amazon, or just find a key fob. They will then plug that reprogrammer into your car, and they will now program that key and have your key to your car, and they can just drive around. So when they get pulled over by law enforcement, it's not reported stolen. What do they have in their possession? The key fob that operates the vehicle. So those are some of the trends and things that we see that a lot of the general public aren't, you know, knowledgeable about. A lot of other things that you look at during the presentations, we do a lot with catalytic converters. Believe it or not, catalytic converters go hand in hand with drug crimes. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Being in a task force, we're pretty unique. Not only do we operate in 5 different counties, but we actually have the jurisdiction to go inside scrap dealerships and do audits to make sure they're not buying some of these stolen parts and the catalytic converters. Because this was pretty impromptu, I'm going a little quick here. So here's some of the places that we present at. We do a lot at Olivet Nazarene University, Indian Valley Vocational School. That is a high school program. We get out there, we show them we have all the equipment that we can do to identify vehicles. We also go to the Kankakee Area Career Center. But more importantly, these are the areas that we hit more importantly for Joliet. We go to neighborhood council meetings. We go to as many meetings as people want us to go to, we will go to. We have been proactively handing out the clubs that you see to hopefully do a little theft deterrent. So we'll go out there and we'll hand out those clubs to citizens or anybody that contacts us. And also one of the things that we do is that we now train all new Joliet police officers in auto theft related crimes. Back when I first got in law enforcement, it was a little bit different. These guys are much smarter, how they re-tag, how they re-VIN vehicles. So a patrolman can get on the street and find a semi-truck, because we were talking about those. They like to be re-tagged and re-VIN'd a lot. They might not know what they're looking for, so we make sure that we do the proper training. So not only we expand it to Joliet, now we do it to all our partners that are involved with us. So pretty important, we get a lot of good feedback, because this is stuff that actually is not being taught in the police academies right now. So we'll kind of go over little stats. You can see we're going to break down personnel year by year, recoveries and arrests. So first time we came to public safety and city council back in July 1st, 2019, our fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th. We had these people assigned. Most importantly, I'm going to point out, is the 5 special agents. Those are the guys who are out there every single day that actually do the job. And then we also have the Will County State's Attorney assigned to us. So as you look in our first year, we had 336 reports. Now, mind you, 40 to 45% of the reports that come into Tri-County are Joliet police reports. So that's a pretty good number that we investigate. So in this task force, you just don't have 1 or 2 guys, you have an entire task force that looks into these crimes. And I'll talk about that a little bit further. So we recovered about 219 vehicles. That first year was 67 arrests. So the grant allocated us $842,000, but we recovered $3.6 million in recovered cars. When we went to the next year, we were able to add 2 more agents, right? And then we were able to add the Kankakee County State's Attorney, because that's very important for us, because the crimes that are committed in Will are some of the same offenders that in Kankakee as well. So you look, so we started now, we had 382 reports, 260 recoveries, 72 arrests. We were able to each year from 842,000 progressively move up the amount that we receive in a grant. We're at almost 1.9 million now, and that is because of the work of the agents. So you look now, so we received 1.146 million, but we recovered 5.4 in stolen cars. Now, granted, these numbers I will tell you does not include the cargo theft. We're the only ones that do cargo theft in the entire state. We've recovered about 800,000 in cargo in the last couple of years. One thing we didn't put on the presentation. So if you look at it going into our other year, our third year, you can see now look how it's risen. 447 cases, 337 recoveries, 124 arrests, and we were allocated 1.6 million in the grant, and we recovered 8 million in stolen cars. Which brings us to our last year, which ends June 30th. You can see now we have more agents assigned. We actually are now getting part-time people coming to Tri-County. There's no grant funding, but smaller partners, communities around here thought it was very important to get experience for their officers. So we're having more agencies want to come in just to be part-time. So in there you can see in our third year, again, we have 10 more days left to the end of the year, so the numbers could be a little bit higher. But 516 reports, 309 recoveries, 83 arrests. The grant was awarded for 1.6 million, and we'll be at over 9 million in recoveries. We left this blank for the future presentations. So one of the things that we do and be very important for the people who are involved in the insurance industry, because we receive our money from the Illinois Motor Vehicle Theft Prevention Council through the Secretary of State. So $1 of your auto policy goes to fund these task forces. So in there we have a breakdown that we do for the insurance companies, so we can show the insurance companies what use their money is going to the task force. So I won't bore everybody with a lot of those numbers, but that just goes in the recoveries. Obviously, the bigger the insurance company, you know, higher, recovery value. Earlier tonight, I emailed this presentation to everybody on the city council, so you guys have it. So if you want to take a little bit more time and if you're more interested into the insurance company graphs. So that's pretty much the quick PowerPoint presentation on it. Anybody have any questions on how the task force runs or anything at all? All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, sir.
So the difference you were showing in what your grants were and the value of the vehicles you recovered, is the state's attorney selling these cars, or
So
where does that go?
they actually go back to our victims. So when we recover those cars, they go back to the victims, or unless if the cars are in such destitute shape, with it helps the insurance company to go ahead and for their write-offs and things, so we can make sure that citizens, get their car back. So on rare occasions, there might be a car, I will tell you that we will intervene with insurance companies. We have a car that has a lot of biological and other stuff in the vehicle that's bad. We will basically get on the insurance companies and make sure they do a full replacement, because nobody needs a car back that's just, clean where there's been, a crime occur in the vehicle. So with those recoveries, 90-some-odd% go back to our victims if they're in good shape. And usually how we're able to get those cars back so quick is through all the flock camera systems that you've heard so much about and those other systems. We get on those right away, we find the cars, we know that, or the fantastic patrolmen in the city of Joliet find these cars really well, or the other jurisdictions. So hopefully that answers your question, Councilman.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So, Mayor, I have Mr. Price here to discuss, there's items on the agenda for purchasing cars and flock cameras. Do you want to wait until that comes up, or do you want him to explain the expenses now?
We do it now, then we can just vote
Well,
through
that's,
it.
I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
let's do it now.
So he's
Thank
sitting here, might as well go under public safety.
Mayor, council members, city manager. I don't know which ones you want to discuss. We have a memo tonight, 29423, that has to do with the seatbelts, or actually seatbelts in the back of an ambulance for $30,000, which is an add-on to the 4 ambulances that we have already got approval for. This is an add-on that came in after the fact. After we received approval. It was a new innovation through Horton that we have a quick 1-minute video, if you want to show it real quick, that we felt was important enough to bring to you.
Another first in safety, exclusive, only on Horton emergency vehicles. Embrace the next generation of advanced airbag safety. Embrace integrates an airbag system within the 4-point retractable harness. In the event of a collision, the airbag cushions the head and neck, while a restraint keeps the EMT safely in place. Partnering with ME, the leader in emergency vehicle safety, Embrace underwent years of engineering, design, and testing, so we can bring you the best the industry has to offer. There's no other system like it, not even close. In fact, Embrace is such a...
The rest of it goes on, it's kind of a commercial to convince you to go on, but you get the idea of what it is. When you're sitting in the back of these ambulances, you have no idea what you're facing. And we felt it was an important safety feature. There are side airbags that we already deploy. There are already tethers that will pull our paramedics back, and we just felt this was one more feature to put through. If these were available when we designed the ambulance at the beginning, we would have added this as just a matter of course. Since it came through a little bit later, we felt it was important to add before the build, and it just went above the threshold. So we were asking permission to go ahead and add this instead of asking for at the end to ask for the permission. We're just asking for permission up front. Second item on the budget that I wanted to talk about a little bit was item 32823, which is on the Dodge Durangos. It's ordinance amending, asking for basically, that's the one asking for permission to amend the 2.1 million that we have already have approval for in the budget. I'm asking for permission to spend that 2.1 million. The 2.1 million, a little bit earlier in the council tonight, that those cars have arrived. They're sitting at the dealership. We just need permission to pay for them. The 2.1 million, because of the way supply chain has been lately, the cars we can pay for. Because of supply chain issues, right now we can pay for the upfit as far as the cages, the lights, most of what goes in there into the vehicles, but that pretty much exhausts what we planned on, and that's just because of, you know, supply chain issues. We need to still put the stickers on, paint the doors, and put in the ISPERN radios that we've decided to go to allow us to move forward, to have interagency abilities through Will County and other agencies that we're putting in there. We're asking to be able to spend no more than $200,000. I don't expect it to go to the $200,000. But at this point, you know, there is some unknown as to what's going to happen with these Durangos. This is the first time we're using these. So we're giving ourselves just a little bit of cushion, but I can assure you I'm a pretty frugal individual when it comes to these things, so I don't intend on taking it right up to the amount, but I want to give myself a cushion so we don't go that far. But those are the three main items: are the radio, the radios that we're going to talk about tonight, painting the doors white, and then putting the logos on that we've changed to recently.
Just one more, you want to explain the 5-year service contract on the new flat cameras and how many we purchased?
That one I'm going to defer to. The flat cameras don't belong to me.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I do believe in them, but
you
the
were
flat
talking about
cameras
that
I can't
too.
do that one for.
All right, then.
But I don't know if anybody else had any other questions on any of the other items that were out there.
I'd tap into you as long as you were there.
No, I'd love to make it up as I go along, but I would, because I did listen to that presentation, but no, nothing else? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
So those were all when we met on June 6th, and on the committee that was here tonight as well, is Sherry Reardon and Joe Clement, and that was an extra special meeting that we had so that we could get the resolution passed for the grant for money for the Tri-Theft Task Force. So that finally concludes all of my reports. Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service met here at City Hall yesterday, June 19th, in the council chambers at 4:30. On the committee is myself, Councilman Mudrin, and also on the committee is Councilman Guerrero. Yesterday, Councilman Guerrero was not at the committee meeting, as he was not here at this meeting, so any of the votes would be based on myself and Councilman Mudrin for recommendation. This will be a very short committee report, so I'm going to take liberty and also tie in an update about economic development. We haven't had an economic development committee meeting to report on, but we had some activity that I think all of us will be a little excited about. So we met yesterday. In attendance was also Director of Public Works, Greg Ruddy, and Director of Public Utilities, Allison Swisher. And we had no contracts to review, so we didn't look at spending any new money. We had 2 change orders and pay estimates. One was a professional services agreement for the 2022 comprehensive water and sewer study to Burns and McDonald in the amount of an additional $60,660. If we all remember, those that were here back then, that was anticipated because we put the study on hold so that we can collect the data that was required, and we simply extended the same level of increase that had been done the year prior. So now we can move forward to do a rate study. And then we had to, of course, we're obligated to be a member of the 2023 Lower Des Plaines Watershed Group, so we looked at that and paying our dues, which is in the amount of $94,000 and some change. Under ordinances and resolutions, we did have a discussion about the possibility of going with eminent domain. There are 18 or so property owners along Hobolt that we need right-of-ways for to do the Hobolt Road extension with the bridge and all. 2 have been essentially non-responsive. So if we don't get a response out of them, then we don't want to. Nobody ever wants to. I don't think we've ever used eminent domain since I've been here in 12 years, but we need to be prepared because we can't slow any of these types of projects down. So we did review that. And then we had an alternative water source program update. Just to be clear, we have that no matter what, whether there's any news to report or not, quarterly. We always have an update. So there's nothing specific or detailed that I want to report, unless, of course, Pat, you can remember something, other than the fact that we're doing fine. We're on schedule, and we're still in budget for what we're accomplishing. So, you know, we're still very much on schedule to meet our 2030 deadline. And there'll be a lot more interesting things to come up in these reports as we start to bid out in less than a year, as we start to break ground. But right now, it's just a good attaboy type thing where they're saying, you know, our consultant that's overseeing the project, looking over the shoulders, they're saying, hey, they're doing a great job with the budget. They're doing a great job with the time, you know, with the team is, with the timing. Nothing bad to report. Good news, we're moving forward at the rate that we need. I believe that's all I have. Pat, did I miss anything?
Oh, they're fine.
So that would conclude the Public Service Committee meeting. I do want to get a brief oral report. Myself and we have two, for those that may or may not be aware, specialists in our Economic Development Department. So we went to the ICSC conference. People wonder what it means. They actually just use ICSC anymore, because originally when it was founded, it was called the International Conference of Shopping Centers. That's not what it does anymore. The ICSC conference that's in Vegas every year. Last time we went was 2019, then COVID hit, so we didn't go for several years. And what it does is it brings together businesses, from individually owned businesses, commercial and retail, as well as chains and so forth. So it can be anywhere from McDonald's to some company that's got 3 stores in Pennsylvania right now is looking to expand. So some companies have their own development location departments, so they're there. They're looking for good places to partner up and develop. Some companies don't have their in-house, and the majority don't, and they use a broker. So when I refer to the brokers, I'm talking about the brokers who actually help their clients, be it retail or commercial, find new pastures to develop in. And then the third membership is folks like myself and both of our specialists from the Economic Development Department, which is Matt Wilson and Bob Lasky. It's cities going there to find, you know, to cultivate these partnerships and relationships. So we're all competing with each other to draw this type of development here. So let me pull up some notes I had, if you indulge me for a second. There we go. So we'll talk about, I'm not going to list the number of cold calls we made. I will tell you a slightly funny story. On the one hand, I truly, as we said in 2019, when I went there with Derek Connolly, that we should really look into doing a city booth. But since we didn't have one, we formulated a strategy where we were strategically placing ourselves in the morning and in the afternoon, where people were coming through the hotel. The hotel that we stayed at, the reason we choose that is it's less expensive because there's no travel involved for those days, because literally behind the hotel, which is called the West Gate, is a service alley, and across the service alley is the north building of the convention center. Las Vegas Convention Center has a north and south building. So we stood there and just kind of were nice and meeting people and saying, hey, good morning, shaking hands. The question we'd ask, hey, are you municipal or are you a company? And if they said municipal, nice to meet you, keep moving, you're our competitor. If they said company, then we would tell them some stuff. And at the end of this, and I'll make it brief, I do have 2 anecdotal stories that are good news. One is good news, one is celebratory, the other one is cautionary. So we met dozens and dozens over those days of cold calls. We certainly met with Cullinan Properties, and the update on Cullinan Rock Run, now called Rock Run Collection, is basically it's on schedule, and they're tweaking out the final design on where to move certain tenants. So there was no bad news to report. Good news is they're on schedule for what they've been saying. We met with companies like Shell and Brink, Brixmore, Costman Development Company, Shopcore, Magmile Capital, Hendon Properties, and the McGarry Group. I call those warm connections, and of course the staff now is following up with them. And we met with one that I call a hot connection. It's called Miller Diversified, and they're an industrial manufacturing broker or developer. So they look for places to put manufacturing facilities. And that's something I think this entire council wants. In addition to logistics, we want manufacturing in our industrial zone, correct? And so we met with them, we introduced ourselves, we chatted for a while. long story short, of course, we reached out to them. Matt and Bob did reach out to them, and they responded after the show. And this past week, they responded. This is where it gets interesting. The two folks that we met with said they would love to, explore any, possibilities for development or partnership in Joliet. So they wanted to meet with us tomorrow, virtually, Zoom meeting or Teams meeting. And so all of us, four of us, including Caesar, the director of the department, we're going to meet with him tomorrow at 9 in the morning, virtually. Then we got an email saying the owner of the company wants to be at this meeting. So when the owner of the entire company decides he's going to take time out of his busy schedule, that's pretty impressive. So we're very hopeful. Fingers crossed. I don't know the list of clients they have per se yet. We haven't drilled that deep yet, but we have the meeting set up for Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning with the two development representatives who we would ultimately work with, but also the owner of the company. So the anecdotal stories I'll tell you is when we had myself and Bob and Matt referred to as the Joliet booth, that was us standing out, just being nice to people. Good morning, how you doing? That was our booth because we didn't have a booth. One very interesting one, I wanted to let you know that Joliet does have a reputation that's good and positive and precedes itself. Somebody came through, he was really brusque, and he said hello, he's hi, hey, are you company or are you municipal? Yeah, I gotta go, I gotta get somewhere to go. All right, well, we're from Joliet, Illinois, we represent Joliet, Illinois. He was already opening the door to go back in the hotel. Oh, you're from Joliet? And he stopped and came back to us. So they made that connection. We haven't had any meetings since that, but that shows you that Joliet's got a reputation, that we've built a reputation over the last number of 8 or 9 years of being a place to develop. Now, kind of funny the way it happened. On the first day of the convention floor, because Sunday is not on the convention floor, it's in another hotel. There's two large buildings, north and south. Each building's got at least 40 or 50 doors in it, so you can randomly pull open any door and walk into the convention floor. We went to the south building. We'll start there. We opened the door, and what do you know? What's right to our right? The first presentation we see, Shell with charging stations. So I walked past, and the two, Bob and Matt, stopped there. Hey, Councilman, we're going to stop here. I said, all right. And I went and looked at some other booths. They came over and they said, you got to talk to these people. I said, we'll go and talk to them. There were 7 or 8 of them. Interesting enough, we chatted up for a while, and I asked them, I said, how many of you own electric cars? One young guy did, and I said, well, you're richer than me. He said, no, it's a 7-year-old car, and I got it cheap. They explained to me that what Shell is doing right now is they have set aside $2 billion. They didn't use the term, but what I would describe as a beta project to start putting up charging stations all around the country. They also said that they fully do not anticipate, if it ever becomes profitable, to become profitable less than 10 years from now. This is the experts, this is not my opinion. So, okay. I said, how are you dividing up this $2 billion? We're from Illinois, Joliet, Illinois. They said, yes, we know that. I said, so we're like the 3rd largest city in the state, so where would we be on that list? And they said, well, obviously we haven't completed the list yet. We have $2 billion to spend over the next 3 years. We want to start it by end of fiscal year. And so certainly you guys would be somewhere up the top of the list for that state. Then I want to explain the actions that we're taking to go into business for ourselves. And they said in so many words, and you can certainly check with the staff that was there as I discussed it with them, and yeah, we probably won't come there then. That's what I was afraid of when we talked about bringing city-owned charges here, is scaring away private development. So that's a cautionary tale. It's dead on. It's completely the truth. But overall, the trip was great. And like I said, very excited about Miller Properties, or Miller Diversified Properties. Really looking forward to the possibility of bringing in addition to logistics and such, we brought in some manufacturing. Certainly the most notable is Line Electric, but this would be a company that could bring in a lot more. And what typically would happen in these situations with development, kind of like the Silicon Valley story that goes back to the late 70s, once you start building manufacturing here, other manufacturers look and say, what's going on there? Why do they want to build their plant there? And of course we know why. As we discussed with them very preliminarily, Canal, the true crossroads of America, 80 and 55, 355 to O'Hare, not far away. We're prime. And that's what stopped that one retail broker in his footsteps, opening the door to get away, go do whatever he's going to do and say, oh, Joliet, I want to talk to you. So very exciting. We'll keep you up to date. We certainly will, report back maybe at the committee meeting about our meeting this Thursday with Miller Diversified Development. But that's what I wanted to give you, the insight that is positive. I would encourage this entire council. I think we'll call for an Economic Development Committee meeting so we can start discussing, Caesar and Pat, we can start discussing how we're going, how the city should present itself at next year's, more formal than just three guys in a suit. Especially if this pays back. We got a couple of smaller paybacks when we won in 2019. This is a must go. You really must go to make the connections. No, you don't close deals there. We're not selling lemonade there. Nobody's selling lemonade. You make relationships. You make contacts, you make relationships. One development makes the entire trip worthwhile. If you can get more developments and build on that, it adds to Joliet's history in recent years of some pretty fantastic development and expansion, both commercially, retail, and industrial. So I wanted to give that short presentation. If anybody's got any questions about the ICSC, I'll be happy to answer them. I hope I've been thorough enough. And that will be my report, Mayor.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Moving on under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on June 5th, 2023, the minutes of the council meeting held on June 6th, 2023, and the minutes of the special council meeting held on June 9th, 2023, stand approved as recorded. Invoices to be paid. It's recommended the report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 284-23, position vacancies. It's recommended the interim city manager be authorized to fill one community paramedic in the fire department and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 285-23, May 2023 payrolls. It's recommended these payrolls be approved. Council Memo 286-23, award of contract for the 2023 sidewalk curb replacement project. Contract D to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $297,190. Council Memo 287-23, award of contract for the Wallace Street roadway project, MFT, to PT Farrow Construction in the amount of $355,266.54. Council Memo 288-23, award of contract for the lift station force main air release purchase to underground pipe and valve in the amount of $65,426. Council Memo 289-23, award of contract for the Oxable wastewater treatment plant HVAC upgrades to Trico Mechanical in the amount of $58,765. Council Memo 290-23, award of contract for the Well 10D rehabilitation to Water Well Solutions Illinois LLC in the amount of $322,825. Council Memo 291-23, award of contract for the Well 12D rehabilitation to Water Well Solutions Illinois LLC in the amount of $218,825. Council Memo 292-23, award of contract for the 2023 roadways resurfacing contract A, MFT, to PT Farrow Construction in the amount of $199,884.58. Council Memo 293-23, purchase of additional license plate reader cameras and approval of a 5-year service agreement with Flock. Council Memo 294-23, purchase 4 airbag restraint systems for the previously approved ambulances for $30,000. Council Memo 295-23, purchase of a web-based fire inspection program from First Due. Council Memo 296-23, purchase of LifePak monitor defib devices for the Joliet Fire Department from Stryker Medical in the amount of $197,296.20. Council Memo 297-23, request to purchase and install 35 ISPERN radios from AB Communications for $44,696.40. Council Memo 298-23, request to approve the purchase of 4 Ford F-550 ambulance chassis from Ron Tirapelli for $237,673.68. Council Memo 299-23, request to purchase and upfit 1 F-450 4x4 truck for graffiti abatement use from Ron Tirapelli Ford in the amount of $89,421.26. Council Memo 300-23, Amendment Number 1 for the Phase 3 Engineering Services for the Illinois Route 53 and Emerald Drive Intersection Improvements Project, MFT, to Jacob and Hefner Associates in the amount of $8,140. Council Memo 301-23, change order number 1 for the Illinois Route 53 and Emerald Drive Intersection Improvement Project Contract MFT to PT Farrell Construction Company in the amount of $73,039. Council Memo 302-23, change order number 1 for the Woodland Drive, Woodland Court retaining wall and channel improvements to deconstruction in the amount of $45,470.80. And payout number 2 and final in the amount of $56,743.50. Council Memo 303-23, change order number 1 for the Olympic Boulevard tree removal project to Homer Tree Service in the amount of $15,273.75. And payout number 1 and final in the amount of $64,950.75. Council Memo 304-23, change order number 1 for the sidewalk curb replacement project, Contract A to Davis Concrete Construction in the amount of $12,382. Council Memo 305-23, change order number 2 for the ductile pipe purchase for the 2023 water main replacement program on behalf of Underground Pipe and Valve in the amount of $109,737.40. Council Memo 306-23, change order number 3 for the 2022 sidewalk curb replacement project, East Area to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $17,294.03, and payment estimate number 3 and final in the amount of $45,132.01. Council Memo 307-23, request for authorization to approve change order number 1 to Sierra ITS for information technology contract services in the amount of $175,000. Council Memo 308-23, award of contract for the authorization for comprehensive benefit consulting broker services to Gallagher Benefit Services in the amount of $76,000. Council Memo 309-23 was removed from consent agenda to be voted on separately. Council Memo 310-23, 2024 roadway reconstruction program. It's recommended this program be approved. It's recommended Council Memos 286-23 through 308-23 and 310-23 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 309-23, authorization to remit the remaining 2023 operating subsidy for the Joliet Area Historical Museum.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried 8-1. Under agenda items, Council Memo 312-23, request to approve the purchase and upfit of 35 Dodge Squad vehicles not to exceed $2,300,000. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Sorry.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 314-23, issuance of a Class C license at 1200 Richard Street, Sugar Creek Liquors. It's recommended this Class C liquor license be approved.
Mayor.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, I spoke to the chief. He ran some calls for service. Certainly, we want all of our businesses and citizens to call the police whenever they need them. There were 25 calls for service. I do not see that being a problem, in my opinion, and my past experiences being in law enforcement. Totally two different areas. High foot traffic at that Mimi's, but where this is going to be on Richard Street, there's not a lot of foot traffic there, and I don't see, in my opinion, that there would be a problem there. So, just my opinion.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 315-23, issuance of a Class B liquor license at 700 Ruby Street, Los 2 Camales. It's recommended this license be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Just real quick, I didn't pull calls for service here. This is a new business. So just for clarification, I vote aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 316-23, denial of a Class CG liquor license at 1601 East Cass Street, 7-Eleven. It's recommended a resolution be approved denying a Class CG liquor license at 1601 East Cass Street.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve a resolution denying a Class CG liquor license for 1601 East Cass Street, 7-Eleven. Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. The Class CG liquor license for 7-Eleven at 1601 East Cass Street was denied. Next, under public hearings, Council Memo 318-23, a public hearing for an ordinance approving the vacation of portions of unused 4th Avenue, Florence Avenue, and adjacent alley. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, let the record show the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance approving the vacation of portions of an unused 4th Avenue, Florence Avenue, and adjacent alley?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is a Council Memo 319-23, a public hearing for a resolution approving an annexation agreement for 0.75 acres located at 420 Rowell Avenue. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, let the record show the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve the resolution approving an annexation agreement for 0.75 acres located at 420 Rowell Avenue?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 320-23. It's a public hearing for a resolution approving an annexation agreement for annexation of 8.81 acres located at 18204 Northwest Frontage Road. It's recommended the public hearing and the item be tabled to the August 15th council meeting. Is there a motion to table this item?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 320-23 to the August 15, 2023 council meeting. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 320-23 is tabled to the August 15th council meeting. Moving on, under ordinances, Council Memo 322-23, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a logistics terminal. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 323-23, ordinances associated with 18651 West Manhattan Road. This includes an ordinance approving the reclassification of 9.727 acres at 18651 West Manhattan Road to R1 Single Family Residential Zoning, and an ordinance approving the reclassification of 45.5 acres south of 18651 West Manhattan Road to R1 Single Family Residential Zoning. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 324-23, ordinances associated with Rowell Storage Subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the annexation of 0.75 acres located at 420 Rowell Avenue, an ordinance approving the classification of 0.75 acres located at 420 Rowell Avenue to I-1 light industrial zoning, an ordinance approving the preliminary plat, and an ordinance approving the final plat of Rowell Storage Subdivision, an ordinance approving the reclassification of 0.41 acres located at 414 Rowell Avenue from R2 Single Family Residential to I-1 light industrial zoning, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a self-storage facility located at 414 Rowell Avenue. Is there a motion to approve said ordinances?
Can I make a comment really quick? Is the attorney that's representing the client here? Hi.
Councilwoman Tom Osterberger, I'm here on behalf.
So nice to meet you. I had a lot of residents reach out regarding this specific issue with regards to safety and them worrying about the possibility that displaced residents would actually might be living out of it, and they worried about how it would be for the neighborhood. And so I did talk to
Nate
your
from my
partner,
office.
and he did tell me that there would be security, whether that be an actual security guard there or surveillance that they were monitoring to ensure that nobody was living out of the storage facility, and that the grounds would be maintained in a really nice manner for the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Nate and I spoke of that, and thanks for reaching out. We had contact from other council people as well. Couple of things. First of all, and I've been fortunate enough to do some of the self-storage in the past, on the west side. I think it's a great use. It cleans up the area, it's quiet, and your concerns, there's always concern about that and theft. So the leases are done such that it's very clear you cannot live there, and when the owner finds out, has you removed. There'll be security cameras, there'll be a fence, and of course you have the ordinance preventing that. So anything else that's needed, obviously the applicant will work well with the city, use those tapes, keep them, and make sure that that doesn't happen, because it poses not only a danger to those people, but for theft and other bad things, so.
I just wanted to make it clear, and I really thank you so much for being so willing to work with the community to make sure it is going to be agreeable for everyone. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And I make a motion to approve.
Second. Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 324-23, ordinances associated with Rowell Storage Subdivision. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 325-23, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow an automotive service and repair business located at 521 Oak Leaf Court. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Motion approved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 326-23, ordinances associated with the annexation of 8.1 acres located at 18204 Northwest Frontage Road and the development of the Imperial Site LLC subdivision. It's recommended this item be tabled to the August 15th council meeting. Is there a motion to table this item?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 326-23, 26-23 to the August 15th council meeting. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 326-23 is tabled to August 15th council meeting. Council Memo 327-23, an ordinance finding need and necessity, authorizing negotiations and authorizing the filing of condemnation proceedings for property necessary to widen and configure Hobart Road and Olympic Boulevard by the city of Joliet. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 328-23, an ordinance amending the 2023 budget for the Dodge Durango Squad upfit process. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 330-23, a resolution approving interagency agreement between the City of Joliet and the Joliet Job Corps Center. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin? Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 331-23, resolution accepting a $3 million rebuild downtowns and main streets capital grant. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Motion.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 332-23, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with Plainfield Community Consolidated School District 202 for the School Resource Officer Program. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 333-23, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax fund for the Wallace Street roadway project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 334-23, a resolution appropriating MFT funding for the roadways resurfacing contract A. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 335-23, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a real estate purchase contract at 4 South Cagwin Avenue. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
I think what the Will County Habitat for Humanity has done for the Joliet area and the Will County area is fantastic, but as a board member, I must recuse myself from the vote.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 336-23, a resolution authorizing the execution of an extension of the development agreement between the City of Joliet and 13th Floor Entertainment Group regarding a portion of the Joliet Correctional Center. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried 8-1. Council Memo 337-23, resolution adopting and authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the Illinois Secretary of State Office for the Tri-County Auto Theft Task Force. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
I had nothing additional, but just a reminder of our special council meeting on Thursday at 4:30. We're going to review the IGA for the Park District and the Taste of Joliet.
Next is new business not for final action or recommendation.
Mayor. Brad, I know we're gonna meet here in the next couple days. I just wanna I don't know if we can look into, a concrete grinder for all the uneven sidewalks that we have throughout the city. I know that we're throwing a lot of, resources there to replace them, but maybe in the meantime, we can grind some of these down, so it's safe for all of our citizens and, ADA and that type of stuff. Also, I don't know in the near future if we could get a meeting with maybe ComEd. A lot of street lights are out, and I don't know if it's on our end or on their end. I mean, obviously, we're not changing the lights, or the light bulbs, but it seems to be taking a long time to get these lights fixed. So I didn't know, maybe we can set up a meeting with ComEd. I don't know of a contact there, so maybe we can get together and see if we can expedite some of these issues, so.
Very good, Councilman. I'll work with Public Works on that and find the answer. Some lights are ours, some lights are theirs. So.
Correct. Thank you.
Mayor? Can I speak? I would like to discuss with the council at a later date a policy and procedure for when we're presented with flags. We were presented with Joliet Pride's flag, and I think we can put a policy or procedure in place, or at least to discuss that. So when we're presented with such gifts, we have a means to, and a procedure to either fly the flag, display the flag, do something with the flag. So just to open the conversation, not tonight, but for a later date to figure out how we handle those situations. Thank you.
Mayor, very briefly on that, and to the council, per the councilwoman's request, we've already started research and looking into what the options are for that, and expect that we'll have ability maybe to move that forward at a committee level here in the near future, so you can have that discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got a little disoriented there. Hey, this might be rhetorical. You know, as a council and as a community, you look at the economic indicators, and then you look at things like, for instance, all of a sudden, all you were getting were pawn shops and gold stores. You say, what's going on with this city? What's going on with this community? There's signs out there. Now, the city of Joliet hit 150,000 more than a decade ago, and has added a few thousand, but has been stable. And I voted yes on tonight's. I voted yes on one for Essington Road. There seems to be a lot of demand for, and God bless them for making, a healthy business out of it, for a lot of storage facilities. And I certainly don't want to become the city known as the capital of storage facilities. But deeper than that, drilling deeper, does that just indicate that Americans want to hold on to more junk? Or does that indicate, but we've lived without it for 10 years, 12 years, lived without it with 150,000 people. Or is there something going on underneath with the housing situation where people are leaving or preparing to leave and they need storage? It's just something, like I said, it's rhetorical. It's not really a matter for discussion, but it just seems odd that all of a sudden we need hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of storage facilities with the same population we had 10 or 12 years ago. I'm curious what that indicates to us, and I'm not sure. That's just my only comments.
tells us the market's looking for them. They do studies. These guys are national companies, so it's kind of what I say.
Right, I don't doubt that, but why? Why suddenly, we haven't all of a sudden gone to 250,000 people and so we're short. Why suddenly are the 150,000 stable residents looking for, especially when you come out of COVID, when you think about it, you know, as a critical thinker, Mayor, when you come out of COVID and the great collapse of 2007 and 2008, a lot of people weren't adding extra quote-unquote junk. They were downsizing stuff. So why did, I agree, they've determined there's a demand. What's the root of that huge increase in demand? What is it we're looking that's coming around the corner that we should be preparing for?
And I'm not sure.
Neither am I. That's all I have.
Suzanne, anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there is a community meeting on Tuesday, June 27th, 6:30 to 8:30, Noel Park, regarding the blasting, the quarry blasting at 620 Sandal Place and 800 Richard Street. And I did go through the reports along with community members because some of the reports, we thought all of the reports were released publicly, and there are some parts missing. So I did talk to Mr. Tonelli, considering the fact that we're a week away from this meeting and that my residents in District 5 want to be able to ask intelligent and meaningful questions and get the answer at this meeting, because that is in fact why the meeting is happening in the first place. So Mr. Tonelli told me to talk to Mr. Torrey, who I sent an email, and he was gonna look into why just part of it was released, but not the entirety of that. So we are trying to get that, and we are a week away from a public meeting. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm hoping that everyone that has any concerns at all regarding the quarry blasting is gonna come out to Noel Park, Tuesday, June 27th. That's 1 week away, from 6:30 to 8:30. Thank you. Thank you.
Jim, can you comment on that real quick, just so that, because I get calls on that also.
I just got that email tonight that there was a concern that something was missing. We're not sure that something is missing. So we're looking into it, and we're working with our legal department to make sure nothing is missing. At this time, we don't think that is the case, but it could be. If there is something missing, we'll try and get it on there tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I make a comment on that, Jim? I know in December, there was 5 questions asked by the community group. And I just want to make sure that we're aware of the 5 and that they're all going to be, at least all those are going to be answered and then some.
There should be experts there from the petitioner to answer all questions. They are the experts on blasting. Staff, unfortunately, is not, so the petitioner should have an expert there to answer all questions.
Thank you. Bet?
No.
Jan?
No.
Sherry?
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I do have something.
All right.
Not new business, but comments.
We still have,
We're still in new business?
yeah, we're public comments next.
Oh, public comments. Well, I'll wait for my turn.
Next is public comments. Trista Brown.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, women and men. First of all, I got 2 compliments, and the other 3 are 3 subjects. So I love the 4 minutes because I can get all that in. I narrowed it down. First thing I want to get a compliment is to the information desk, where there's Krista Benson and Joyce is at that information desk. Because of our group, we try to make sure we navigate through the system, let people understand what happens. Every day, I give them their names, they call to the information desk, and they navigate there, and people are pleased that they're getting to the correct person. Second part, I want to give another compliment is, let's just talk about the police department. I've been to a lot of the meetings, understanding that, they still need more policemen to help to do the job that is necessary to be done. But I do want to give one compliment is that on Clinton Street by the library, my girlfriend has a store. I finally saw last week, and I believe it was him too, I don't know, to see someone out there actually monitoring that area. There is a lot of people that comes in and out of her stores. She has actually been in a confrontation with a person who robbed her store. So I was glad to see that present to exist, that actually I saw two, a lady and a man, so one can handle the lady and one can handle the man if there's anything going on. So those are my two compliments. The other three things, let's go to gun violence. I wanted to first thank all those who came out when it came to Antoine Shropshire, who was shot, a 16-year-old, was shot 25 times. That was terrible. But I want to say that one of my problems that I have is this. We did call the police department. We was told that someone was going to be there at that funeral and was going to be there for us, but nobody was present. And I think that, again, presence of the police department, when they see you, people go the other way sometimes. So I was kind of disappointed that they didn't come to the funeral. They wasn't there, even though we was hearing people say there was going to be retaliations, and praise God, that didn't happen. The second part I want to tell you when it comes to the gun violence. Today, at 6:10 today, I was coming up Center Street and Cass Street. It was this, I know this young man, but today I saw him, I don't know if it was a real gun. I did call it in so you guys can check it, the police, that we need more presence because he was right down there. I don't know if it's a real gun or not. He had a long gun. I can't tell you if it was fake or not. That's the problem. We don't know if they're fake or not. But yet he had that gun pointed at different people. There was no police present. Cameras are important. I call that in, and I have a problem. We say we either call with 911 or do we call the non-emergency one? And I'm gonna go back to that because when I went to a meeting, and I love it, the chief said, it doesn't matter how small or what you don't think it is, you should call the 911. Because that person, which again, I know this, I don't wanna get into who I know. I'm saying that this boy needs some help, literally. He needs some help. He's a 16-year-old boy who's been on the street for a long time. But today he scared me. He was out there with a gun. It was camouflaged with some kind of something here around it. Keep in mind, this is a shooter that's out. The shooter that shot that 15-year-old is still out. So we got to get better control. We got to get more presence. And I think if your presence is there, it can help. And this young boy, I cannot give his name, but I can be out there to try to help. We got to get some of these people off the streets. The third thing, it's about the homelessness. I must be that nosy lady, so y'all can call me anything you want. But I'm out there listening to the voices of the people. I went to Speedway gas station, and I also took some pictures of that. I stayed in a parking lot over across where Frosty Tips or whatever it is where you get ice cream. I watched all these people do drug deals. I watched people lighting up different things, and then I was told by the manager, because I called the manager at Speedway, said they call the non-emergency one. And they said that people said, oh, if they're homeless, we can't do anything about it. I called, I got the same response. So I took videos. I saw a state trooper, he was right next to that. So I was told that, well, he can't do anything because he's a state trooper, that would be the police. But he also saw it. Now, again, I'm not trying to condemn anybody and tell anybody what they need to do, but I need a police present that would take them. So I took videos just so that you can see. So I went and talked to the manager. Tell me when my time is up. I talked to the manager. She said she didn't want to give her name. She said, we call all the time. So I took a picture. They used their water. They were out there turning on the water faucet, and they used their electricity. Right back behind the Speedway on Jefferson Street. I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh, I'm not good at directions at all, so. But I just wanted you to know that I have a video showing that. Thirdly, John Bates owned the other part over there. So, again, he owns that other part that he can see what's going on, but yet he still don't, but he owns everything around here. We gotta be more accountable. We gotta make these people that we allow them to buy property and everything and give them all these other different things, but they're responsible as well. But I thought I wanted to tell you that because I am gonna continue to keep my eyes and ears and open. I'm gonna continue to amplify the voices of the people, and I'm gonna continue to work with each one of you. But I think sometimes you don't know everything that's going on. You rely on us to tell you. And that's what I'm doing. Please, and last thing, before Ms. Honorary up, I want to talk about trust and confidentiality. I will be talking to the chief about this. I do get calls. I do not give names. There was a leak out of a footage of an interrogation. 7 minutes.
If you could just keep it brief, we're past time.
Oh, I'm way past.
Yeah.
Well, real quick. There's a leak out of a footage that is going around that went viral from the police department of a case that was done. This guy is free. The mother has been called and said she's been getting threatening things because of this interrogation that led out from Joliet Police Department. I am going to talk to the chief about that because they're getting threatening calls. Again, I'm just Trista, just giving you the news from Joliet, but these are facts, not fiction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak?
My name is Doug Casper. I live here in Joliet. I'm here with the Nonviolent City Project, focusing on Joliet. I'm here with some of our steering committee, and we come in today to ask the city council to, continue and make good on your commitment to sign our proclamation and proclaim Joliet a nonviolent city. So we're looking forward to that moving forward and getting it on the agenda sometime here, perhaps soon. If there's questions and concerns about this program that's nationwide, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
Can I make a comment on that, Doug?
Sure.
I put a call to you last week, and I'm kind of a moving target, but I'd like to do one more thing, and that would be to create a community task force that's going to work together. I think it's going to be more than just a nonviolent thing. You know, we've got 43,000 young people in this community under the age of 19 years old. I went to that vigil for Antoine, and it hurts to know that our community isn't really working together. You know, when I see the family members there and everybody there, we need to come together as a community. You know, we've got these kids out of school. They're not eating during the day. They're probably not hydrating during the day. They don't have anything, a lot of things to do. We need to create recreation for them. We need to, have food for them and water. I think it's going to take all of us to come together. I think that we need to design and develop an action plan with team members from the city level and from the city level of yourselves. I mean, Trista, you know what's going on. And we need to get more people, more eyes out there. There should be a quick and easy way for something like that situation, that boy. I mean, it may not have been real, but who knows if it is or isn't, and then you got an action item.
Well, you sure are speaking our language, Mayor, and we would certainly look forward to and work with whatever group we can. We are aware of Angel Contreras's program on prevention of gun violence. That's one little part of it, and we look forward to working with them. We need talk. We need action. We talked about it a little bit. We need to follow up on the commitment. Most of the members of the city council here made the commitment to sign our proclamation. We want it signed. We want it moved forward. We want to work with the other people. We want to stop some of the violence the best we can in Joliet. I'll tell you what you're looking at here. You're looking at some of the best activists around. They're not people with three-piece suits here. We're just ordinary people, but we're seasoned veterans in the peace movement, and we know about it a little bit. We've been around the block several times, and that's what we can bring to the table, I believe. We certainly would love to work with anybody, and we look forward to working with the township and anybody else. But let's get that proclamation signed. It's a piece of paper. It's significant that Joliet can proclaim itself as nonviolence, and we can do something about it. With that young 16-year-old boy that was shot last May 30th. But he reminded me of, and some of you council members might remember that man that stood right here several months ago before you came, Mayor Darcy, but he poured his heart out. He couldn't even speak English, had to speak through an interpreter. You guys remember him? Poured his heart out because his 17-year-old son was killed. something, and when he poured his heart out, he was saying, help! We need you. We need you to make a commitment to nonviolence and do something about it. And I know it's not gonna be easy, but I'll tell you what, and I believe in all my heart, the activists, they got something we can add to it. These common folks, part of Pax Christi, Pax Belli, World Beyond War, Code Pink, Poor People's Campaign, you know them people? We all rub shoulders with them, and we got their wisdom. We got a little bit of their understanding. Will it work? I don't know. But I can say, you know, I've seen a lot of programs, especially some of them in Chicago, that came and went. Didn't do it, you know? Do a lot of really good talk, throw a lot of money out to it. Violence is still there, big time. Thank you. Muchas gracias. With respect and appreciation, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Doug, just so you know, I've spoken to our fire chief, police chief, head of the park district. I know Angel's on board, school systems. We need to come together as a community, and we need support inside the community, because that's where the eyes are. Everybody knows what's going on in the community. We need to get that communication out.
Yeah,
We're gonna put something together.
We have, not to interrupt, but for 3 years, we have been working with the schools and in the community for 3 years. And so here we are again. The piece of paper, signing this paper just means that we're committed to not go away and to work with all the people of Joliet, all the groups, schools, parents, police officers, firemen,
We want the
et cetera.
same.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do we have a date that you can sign the,
I'd like to put together an action plan. I mean, signing the paper isn't the action. The action is putting together the
well,
plan.
signing in the paper is a promise that we're going to act and have a plan.
Let's put the plan
That's what a
together.
proclamation is.
We want Joliet's plan. And I know you've got a national plan. I've read some of it.
But you said, didn't you say you were gonna sign it? You became mayor? Didn't you promise that at the,
What I'm promising is an action plan to make things happen.
okay, all right.
So
Well,
I think
we'll have to
I
have
could
a
go
meeting.
beyond what your proclamation is, because I think we need more involvement
Right,
around the globe of our community here. So that's what I'm saying.
all right. Whatever, okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
We'll be back.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening. Long night tonight. Yeah. I just want to say, hard for me to say it. Father's Day, I went and wished my dad a happy Father's Day, and then he gave me the news that I'm not going to be able to stay living in my mother's place for much longer. That I'm going to have to find a new place to live. I just don't know if I can do it. It's all because of all this development greed. These trucking terminals and everything are now taking away the place that I live in. And it's not easy for me to kind of go pick up the pieces and go somewhere else and try to live because of all I lose. You know, I made my friends through the years in Joliet and everything. I even made friends, ironically, at a warehouse up the road, to which we had fun the other day, Friday, just sitting there flashing our lights back and forth at each other at night. And I get my hug from the guy every night when he gets off of work. I get my hug from him. And now I'm not going to be able to get that anymore. I've had over 23 tragedies come in my life, from sexually molesting to rape to being shot at to being homeless. And I cannot take my heart just simply cannot take this latest one, not another one. And so because I have to say it's because of all this development greed. And now you got North Point coming into where if there was any good place to go to live, to stay in the area, it's now going to be taken by North Point. So in other words, I'd have to go, like my dad found a place, nearest place, Mazan, Illinois. Like, do you think I want to go live in Mazan, Illinois? You know, my friends ain't gonna come out there and see me. I lose my mechanic that I've, you know, made through the years, for the guy that bales my hay. And he turns out being my mechanic and fixing my vehicle for me. He just fixed my truck for me, to save me $1,000. And I'm not gonna have that stuff no more. All because of this greed of this development has done. And now it has come to where it's now gonna kill me. And I'm not kidding this time.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Nothing.
I just want to welcome everybody to summer. Tomorrow's the official start of summer. And I think living in the Midwest, we can all realize that we endure the winters so we can really enjoy the summers. And I hope everyone has a great summer this year. Suzanne?
I just hope everyone in District 5 comes out to the Noel Park Recreation Center 1 week from tonight to talk about the blasting issue. And I hope everyone has a wonderful summer as well. Thank you. You know what, Mayor? Can I have one more second?
Sure.
I do have one thing to say, and it's about a City of Joliet employee who goes above and beyond every single time. And I just wanted to recognize and mention Kristen Desiderio is amazing at the City of Joliet. Never fails to help me with every issue that has come up, and she's the first line of help in most cases. So I want to thank you for that, Kristen. I want to thank you for being an amazing employee. Thank you.
Now. He's gonna kill me for this, but I have to do this. One of our firemen, who was a retired fireman, was very instrumental in this peer support group, and he's written a book. John Lukancic wrote a book in his retirement, The Joliet Emergency Management Model for Mental Health and Illness. And I haven't read it, he just gave it to me tonight, but I want you to sign it, John, because you didn't sign it, you just gave it to me, you didn't sign it and date it. And I can't wait to read it because he's been working on this along with Sister Mary Frances Seeley, and that group was amazing. We worked on hard. So we had meetings, so she asked me why I haven't come to the meetings. I'm like, I don't know when they are anymore. So John, give me a text or send me an email, please. But I'm very proud of John and our whole fire department for getting this support group mental health thing, because it's really helped not only the fire department within each other, talking to each other, but we're trying to get over into the police department as well, with these mental health issues that we have. It's like a PTSD when you go out on a case and you see something horrific and you keep it inside, and it's no difference than going to war and you see something awful, because they tell you back in the day to suck it up and move forward. Well, you can't do that anymore, and that's what these guys are here for, each other. And it's a brotherly thing, and we're getting it into, trying to get to the whole city, but that's, and the ThriveWorks thing, and so I can't wait to read this. So don't leave tonight without signing it. But I'm very proud of you, and I'm very proud of our both police and fire department. I'm gonna give you applause.
I just want to say, don't forget, we have Taste of Joliet this weekend at the Park District, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then, again, the fireworks are back at Memorial Stadium, so let's have fun and a safe 4th of July. See you after that.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.